All right, it is July 14th. We are on the Geo Scheduling Call. Yeah, does anyone want to share their screen? Otherwise, I can do it. All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen. So we are on the build board. And yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on. It's very exciting to see. So start with the closed column, making the registry tables as a single source of truth to verify projects and wikis. Douglas, anything you want to say about this?
Sure. Yeah, this is the last part to make the hash table the single source of truth for projects and wikis. It was merged yesterday, so now I'll enable the feature flag. This is behind the feature flag. We enable this on the staging, and I run some tests, and everything's working as expected. I enable it by default for GitLab 13.2.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and then was there a issue for the feature flag here? Yeah, I think it's this one right here, right?
Yes, and I'm planning to split these issues in two. One to enable the feature flag by default for 13.2 and to remove the feature flag in 13.3. I will do this later in the call.
Got it. All right, thank you. Sounds good. Okay, yeah, next one. Mike, supporting a parameterized route controller view.
Yeah, this is rearranging some things. So yeah, that list there, the controller, the route, the index file. So those things are a little bit more generic. So that way, I think that allows us to make the front end a little more generic. So yeah, it was just a refactor basically. But yeah, that got merged, which is nice.
Cool. Yeah, and this, if I'm understanding, saves quite a bit of work then in implementing a new data type.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Since
you'd have to manually add everything in that list every time we added a new data type if we didn't do this.
Very cool. So yeah, and so with like the new blob data types we have, I think issues in those epics to add like the details list view, but this should make that either a no-op or fairly straightforward to do, right? Is there any additional work there or will that just kind of come out of the box?
Well, it should be a no-op for those components. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Cool. It's exciting. Thank you. And next one, you have this one as well, Mike. Bug fix for attachments and job artifacts improperly shown.
Yeah. It's a bug fix, and I think, is this the one where we need to, yeah, okay. So it was kind of introduced in 12.10. So I opened that issue for backporting it. I think I haven't heard back yet after getting some questions for more information from the release managers.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to agree that it should be backported, but I don't know if necessarily to 12.10, but I hope so.
Yeah, I think I saw an email just come through that said that they were not going to backport it to 12.10.
Oh, that's okay. That's disappointing, but
yeah,
kind of understandable. That's pretty far back.
Yeah, they did close the issue, so I'm wondering if we should still comment in there and just check if they're going to do anything for, I guess, 13.0 and, or wait, do we only need it for 12.10 or?
We need it for 13.0 and 13.1 also.
Okay. Yeah, so we might want to check.
I actually just I added the pick labels, and I don't know if that's, I mean, that's probably not standard, but like, as far as I know, they'll just get included if those labels are on there.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think, and we just went through this with, I think, a bug fix that Douglas merged in last week. Yeah, my understanding is like you can add those pick labels, and if they decide to create a patch release, they should get included. But like if we want to, but then they might not decide to create a patch release, and so like if we really want to try to advocate for one, we should open that issue and specifically ask for it. So I guess it kind of depends on how like how strongly you want to advocate for a release. Like, are we okay just kind of see, if there is one, that it gets in, or do we want to like actually try to get them to make one?
Yeah, 13.1. I mean, 13.1 is going to get patch releases. I mean, that would be weird if it didn't. But 13.0, I mean, I guess I'll look into opening the issue. I'll look at what they said on the 12.10 one.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember for the bug fix that we for the last one, they were saying that they weren't really considering 13.0. They did end up doing it, and I think had a couple items in there, but I think at first they were saying like it might not be likely unless there was more demand, or unless we gave them a good reason.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for getting that in and opening the backport request as well. I think it's always good to try to get it backported, even if it's not as likely to make it. All right, let's go to the next one. Geo file downloads can block Sidekick threads. Valerie, are you on the call?
Yeah. So I set it to review, and so I fixed it in a way that I try to limit the sync for 7 hours or something like this. But Stan has suggested to fix it in a way that we wait for 60 seconds for any response from primary node. So I used suggested by Stan way to fix it. So yeah, now it's merged, so which is nice. That's it from my side.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for taking care of that. I saw some of that discussion with Stan, and yeah, there was it was an interesting good back and forth. Thanks for getting this fixed. Does anyone have any other questions about this one before we move on? All right. Go to checking that geo-replication verification is up to date. Let's see. Akriti had posted some updates here for these items, so thanks for that. And she says this automated check is now part of the promotion command. So yeah, and I think that was one that we had talked about trying to assign for review before she got back. So thanks for doing that, helping that along as well, Alex.
No problem.
Yeah, so I think this is, I think the only thing, this kind of takes care of the release post item for for this check. I think there's the release post item also mentions the force functionality, which is still in review, but almost there. So we'll get to that one in a little bit though. All right, and Zach, you have the next couple ones. So yeah, remove edges.
So this is a follow-up from one of the GraphQL things that Natalia mentioned, and so we were just overcomplicating our GraphQL response, and so this just cleaned it up. This is just a technical day, kind of like highly technical kind of front end thing.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for following up on that right away. Next
and then
one.
Geo settings forms, I probably talked about it a couple of times. This one took a while to get in, but I rewrote the form in Vue JavaScript, and we got rid of the old Haml form, which gave us some increased flexibility, and it also added validations to the form. So now hopefully things will be better. There also the front end pre-evaluates the IP format, so which should just help the users from submitting like incorrect posts. So yeah, and then it's all done through the API now instead of the Rails controller.
Cool. Yeah.
And the feature flag is gone too. I don't know if I mentioned that. So it's live.
Okay. Yeah, and I think we have a release post item for this as well. So that's pretty much ready to go, right? I think Fabian might have asked for some screenshots, but I don't know if he ever added them to the release post. So might have to look at that and ask you for some feedback on it.
Okay. I know I did screenshots for something. Hopefully it was that.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. Also, just wanted to point out, was this, we were kind of talking about this example of you trying out, like asking the same reviewers to review some MRs in like a series of related MRs. And I think this was kind of an example of where you did that and got things moving faster.
Yeah,
right?
so
yeah.
Those last three that are geo settings form, fetch, validations, and remove all code, Nicolo was the one who did all three of those. It's just the backend maintainer ended up merging it. But yeah, so those last three went in really quickly because those last three I used the same set of reviewers, which was really nice.
Yeah, it's great to see like a retrospective item for improvement. Get tried and implemented with success. So yeah, nice work there. All right, let's go to. Looks like you have one more.
Yep. So this one was kind of Mike helped me brainstorm on this one, and we found a way to essentially do a new to GitLab approach to some generic GraphQL queries, which some would argue is kind of the opposite of like what GraphQL stands for. But in our case, we needed the generalization as kind of been the trend a lot that I've been pushing for the front end lately. And so we kind of paved the way for a new kind of approach to some of the GraphQL queries, and it got looked at by a couple of the kind of GraphQL gurus, and they gave it to the green check. So they, we got this. And so now this kind of goes in tandem with the work that we talked about with Mike did just recently about not having to create all those files. The front end also was gonna, at the time, gonna need a new file every time a new data type was created to fetch the data. And so now we have a generic way to fetch the data as well.
Great.
More generalization.
Yeah, and making the self-service framework a lot friendlier to use. So that's really cool to see. All right. Next one, Douglas, remove code duplication on file registry finders.
Yeah, this one after we made the hash table a single source of truth for these finders, we were able to remove a lot of duplicated code between them and make them much simpler.
Great, thanks. Yeah, it's really neat to see, like, as a result of all all of the work that you've been doing here. Now being able to see you be able to kind of like remove remove duplicated or no longer used code. Yeah. All right. Jenny, update omnibus configuration for GitLab Geo containers.
Yeah, this is in GitLab QA. So this I was just updating the configuration for the containers that we spin up for the end-to-end tests, and also enabling packages for future end-to-end tests.
Oh, great. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, it's good to have that updated with I guess Puma now being default. Cool, thanks. And then yeah, and I don't think we need to go through this one. I think you had, well, if you want to say anything about it, Jenny, I think we had mostly, it was yeah, kind of about answering these questions about if we need tests for additional data types, right? Yeah, yeah. Thanks for this response. I wasn't really aware of all these open of this epic that was open, so that really, or yeah, this improved QA and testing epic. So that was good to know about. All right, we'll go to the in review column. So I think this one just got added, put in review by Tone. So that's external MR diffs. And I think we'll, common theme we'll see with some of these is they're, with these data types is they're all sort of in review or close to in review. And I think there's a lot of collaboration happening here. Yeah, does anyone have anything they wanted to mention about external MR diffs?
Just that it seems like it's really close.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I think it's really close. We've had, I think, several like MRs, like smaller, either like refactors or documentation MRs come out of the exploration that Tone has done there. So I think that's been super helpful, and it'll be nice to to see this cross the finish line, so to speak. Yeah, maintenance mode, application settings field. I think this is very close as well. I think it's just been passed to Ash for a backend maintainer review. So this seems very close as well. Douglas, registry tables as single source for designs.
Yeah, it's almost close to be merged. It's under maintainer review.
Yep. Nice. And then Akriti has the force mode that we kind of mentioned here. And just from her update, this will allow users to go ahead with promotion even when some checks fail. Just waiting on maintainer review in Omnibus. It is mentioned in the release post. I do wonder, I think I saw that, oh, okay, good. It looks like Ian is on it now. So that is good to see.
I know that they are suffering from a pretty serious shortage of maintainers. So I've noticed that just putting ready for review on there means that it's probably going to sit there for a long time just because their maintainer workload is so large. So pretty much the only way I've found to have someone review Omnibus stuff right now is to either ping someone directly or ping a group label that they've got. I don't remember. It's like the if you just ping the whole distribution team, someone will pick it up. But I've tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, putting the ready for review on, and then wait like a day before I'm like, hey, someone want to get this?
Yeah, I think that seems like a good approach. I mean, they are pretty responsive, but I do agree that it seems like, yeah, it's hard to know exactly with this label workflow, like when, if it might slip if they are really busy with reviews. So I think that's a good approach to take for these items.
I heard that people like Ian were occasionally spending 70% of their time doing reviews for Omnibus, which is like not sustainable at all if they want him to, do other work. So
yeah, that's that's a lot of review time. Yeah, cool. Thanks for that insight, Alex. Yeah, so this seems pretty close. And then, yeah, Alex, you have the next item, Terraform state replication in review.
Yep. So I've had a database reviewer look at it, and Tone looked it over and left a few comments. But I'm hoping to have all of that addressed basically right after this meeting. It's pretty close to all of it being addressed. So hopefully that'll get a rubber stamp tomorrow or something. But if not, then I'll keep fixing things until it does. But I think it's pretty close. I do need to file some follow-ups because there are a couple of... I wasn't entirely sure which things got included in this, so I am going to file follow-ups to add the metrics and finish all the other things. Just putting that out there.
Yep, that sounds good. And yeah, I did want to kind of, towards the end of the call, go over our 13.3 planning issue. And I think some of the follow-up, we can have a little discussion about what the follow-ups there are, and that might be it. But yeah, it seems like either we need to kind of specify that in these issues or break them out. So yeah, thanks for that update. Yeah, all of these data types seem close. I think, certainly don't think we should unnecessarily stress ourselves out and work super overtime trying to get them in for the release. But they do seem like they certainly have a chance of making it. So it would be good to see. But if not, I think it would still, be good to try having them wrapped up soon, so that we could just kind of have it out of the way and can move on to other things at the beginning of the next release cycle.
I have a couple questions. So are these feature flagged, the new, like the Terraform state replication and the external MR diffs?
Yeah, that's a good question. Alex, do you know if have you been planning
Sorry,
to
say that
feature
again.
flag those?
Is it feature flagged? Or is it?
I did not feature flag my individual one. Should
Okay.
I? That's not part of the instructions right now. That seems like a really good idea now that you've said it out loud, which makes me think maybe we should think about doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. Like, if you're really confident about it, I don't think it's, I mean, it's leveraging a lot of stuff that we already have, tested with package files.
Oh, Mike, I'm so confident.
Yeah, that's a good question. We definitely don't have an issue for it in the Epic. So if I'm, but it is a good question to raise. How confident are we? I guess my assumption was we feature flag package files, so we're kind of implementing it in multiple iterations and sort of doing this for the first time, and so maybe in creating the follow-up epics, Fabian was just kind of assuming that we were confident enough that we didn't need a feature flag. But I think if there is enough concern, maybe we do want to consider that. But
yeah,
definitely,
or even defaulted to true. At least then you have something to switch it off or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be okay, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I have another question. Does anybody know when the last day will be to get stuff into the release, or like ish, like likely to be last day?
Yeah, it's never certain. Friday is the 17th, so I think it would be sometime then. But it's all, yeah, it's been hard to know like whether it's early in the day or midday, or you know, when that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really reliably, I would almost say Thursday, just because
Yeah.
like it totally depends on Friday, right? It's like when someone decides to hit a button,
Yeah.
but also sometimes like one time it was at like 0 UTC, and I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we'll say Thursday. If something's merged Thursday, then it's likely to be in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That, I think that's probably our safest bet. Yeah, I guess as far as the feature, like Alex, what's your thoughts on like how, you know, like does it make sense to um, add a feature flag in there? Does it, I guess,
I think
add a bunch? Yeah.
I think defaulting it to true makes the most sense, because that way if something goes wrong, at the very least we can turn it off. And if nothing goes wrong, we can just remove it in the next release, and no one will be the wiser. But we can still like. I feel like if we release it, if we want to quote unquote release it, this milestone for stuff, like we really need to. Well, I don't think we can default it off, right? Because
Yeah.
otherwise people won't actually get it. But I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feature flags aren't that hard to add.
True.
Like it's pretty easy to just add it. So, and now is the time for me to add one, certainly. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Mike. Sounds like a good idea. And yeah, so if no one else, I guess is opposed to that, we can, after this, just chime in, comment on these issues, and kind of maybe just bring up that this was discussed in the scheduling call, and to suggest to add the feature flag defaulted to true there. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Cool.
I'm going to make it a global feature flag, not like a project specific one. I assume that's the right choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's go to Mike. Yeah, remote stored files should account for object storage settings.
So since we're very close to the last few days that we can get something into the release, I separated this into 2 parts, and I'm working on making registry consistency worker do the right thing, so that even if the create events come through and, you know, the secondary tries to sync and it fails or whatever, eventually the situation will correct itself. And yeah, that's the more important part. So I have an MR in review. I sent it to Tone because it's a database thing. So that's where it's at currently.
Okay. Yep, sounds good. I guess, yeah, I'll just want to keep an eye on that. Yeah, I think especially around this time too, like since we have so few database maintainers, I do sort of wonder, you know, if there's going to be a flood of reviews for him to look at. So it might just be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for getting trying to figure out like what's essential to get into the release, and getting that in review so quickly. Let's see, and then one more from Akriti, removing the unused option, confirm removing keys.
I reviewed this one. It looks fine. It's a pretty simple one, and now it's with maintainer next.
Great. All right.
But it's not urgent, so I wouldn't, ping him or anything. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it might have already gotten a ping.
Yeah, that's okay.
Cool. All right. Going to the block column. Jenny, do you have any update on this one?
Yeah, I think you pinged the infrastructure team, and they've so this is about SSH on secondary not working, and they realized they never enabled port 22 on the secondary, so they opened an MR, but I haven't seen the status. It might still be under review.
Okay.
So link there.
Sounds
probably
good.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess we can follow up on it and see, but I'm glad there was some movement there. Great. All right, let's go to the in dev column. I can provide updates on these first two since Gabriel's in here. He's going to prioritize this small moving the rake geo task to the GitLab geo under GitLab geo to try to get that in before the release, and then he still has to do some investigation on this bug. I think we've had this here for a bit. I know he was out for a week a while ago, and I think has still kind of been dealing with some computer issues and trying to get a new setup going. So that was his update for me earlier. But hopefully, I think this is small enough that it should hopefully be able to get in by end of Thursday. And then going down here, Jenny, you have a couple of items.
Yeah, they're related. So yesterday, Alex and I did an upgrade from 12.10 to 13, and we had some additional monitoring and some real-time feedback this time. Saw some interesting things. So I think there's about 3 areas we want to look at. I have to open issues for those, but once those are opened, I would at least need an engineer because it involves looking at like the reconfigure step and the hub step. So but as a result,
an issue for reconfigure and hub, and I CC'd you on it. I did it like right before this meeting was happening.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you.
I put them in one issue because I suspect that they're related, but maybe they're not. So maybe I'm totally wrong. So I don't know.
And the third thing we're thinking of was the relative order of updating the Sidekick nodes versus the web nodes. I'm not sure if that needs investigation or if that might just be something we do in the next upgrade. But
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the collaboration on that. Should we still consider this in dev then, or can we is there anything else that needs to be done for this specific one before we can close it?
I still have to update the validation test page.
Yes.
And but after that, I'll double check and then close it for finished all the steps.
We should also decide if we want to. I don't know if we want to separate. No, we should have a separate issue for the Sidekick thing. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Yeah. No worries. Agreed. All right. Yeah, this is great. Thank you. And then, I think you kind of covered some of what came out of the downtime upgrade process as well. So. Cool. All right. Zach, fixing the vertical alignment of icons.
Yep. So you pinged me on a couple of these kind of older issues. So I found that this one actually still is a problem. So it's a really simple fix. So I actually have it done, but I am actually, while I'm in there, I'm kind of refactoring a couple of the legacy things, kind of get them up to date since I'm already touching the file. And then, yeah, this one should go in. And then there's one other issue that you pinged me on that I'm going to take a look at. But yeah, both of them are old enough that I have to do kind of like some investigation to make sure that they're still happening.
Sure. Yeah, this kind of came about. I think we've discussed this a bit in the planning issue. I think we're waiting on some designs, and sort of in the meantime and that'll be a big project once it's ready for Zach to work on. But in the meantime, there's self-service framework stuff to do, but there are also some like back-end dependencies on that. So it's trying to go through and see if there are any like standalone front-end issues that might be good as to kind of queue up while, if there is any time in between these items. So yeah, thanks for looking into it. And I think it's always fun to go to close out issues that have been open for over 6 months to a year. So yeah. Let's see. Jenny, document how to run geo tests on local.
Yeah. So we've added some options to GitLab QA where you can run it locally to spin up 2 containers and configure it for geo, and then leave those containers running but not run the tests. So it's something that'll be helpful for the quality team when we're on call. They don't have to wait for me to look into it, because a lot of people, they don't have it set up on GDK. So
Okay.
I'm just writing some documentation for that.
Great. Yeah, that'll be really nice to share that knowledge. And thanks. And Douglas, making the registry table single source of truth for the container registry. Oh, I think you're muted. At least I can't hear you. Yeah, sorry. I can't, I don't know if anyone else is able to hear Douglas. Okay.
I blame the internet.
So, I think we can hear you now.
Oh, great. Yeah, this is the last type is to use the foreign data wrapper. I started work on it today. So yeah, I hope that we can have this on GitLab 13.2 under a feature flag. That's it.
All right. Great. And I've got these next 2. I'll try to summarize them kind of quickly. This one is this one kind of caught me by surprise. We had it in the 13.2 planning issue, but I think it was still labeled group distribution, and so I wasn't really looking at it when in my filtered deliverables view, and we didn't have it on the build board. So basically, we want to just verify that Geo works with Patroni and Postgres 11, since Patroni is going to be, it's been available in Omnibus, I think, since 12.10, but we're actually going to be announcing that Omnibus supports it in 13.2. So it was kind of like a last minute, can we verify this? And so I had some time to look at it. I was able to use Orchestrator to quickly set up a primary cluster that was managed by Rep Manager and switch that over. So that's why I kind of took on this issue as well, because we had already had an issue for moving a deployment from Rep Manager to Patroni. So kind of, I guess in testing it this way, I kind of able to, I guess, cover a couple different of these verification issues. It's not quite the same as a fresh install, but I think there was some general agreement that we could probably test what we needed to going this route. Like I was able to get it to work, and just the main issue that I ran into is that Patroni deletes any replication slots that don't belong to members of the cluster. So that's definitely going to be you can create the slot, but if you restart Patroni, it's gonna delete that slot. So we're just kind of waiting on someone from distribution to weigh in on what they think is a good way forward. I think one option is that Patroni does allow configuration of a permanent slot, so we could look into trying to support that. But yeah, I think beyond that testing, it's sort of I think not really, I think sort of above my level of knowledge here about what the best way to proceed is. But the testing was very insightful, and I learned a lot doing it. Yeah, so I think I've pinged some people, but yeah, if anyone has thoughts on this, feel free to take a look and chime in on these. Let's see. Akriti is working on the vulnerability export replication. I think that's pretty close to review. I saw she reached out to Alex and Tone for some to pair on that. So I think that's moving along. Maybe since it's not in review, that might be the one that's least likely to make the release out of the three. Let's see, Douglas, removing the Geo FDW upload model.
Yeah, I put that on hold because to focus on the other issues that I'm working on. This one is just to remove some unused code, so it's not very important for GitLab 13.2.
Okay, sounds good. And Valerie, adding package files to the status rate tasks.
Yeah, actually, I forgot about it because it was blocked by one merge request, which is already merged. So I just need to rebase it and send to review. So it's complete.
Okay, pretty so safe to move into review now.
No, please. I will do that myself,
okay,
because I need to rebase the branch.
All right, sounds good. Cool. Thanks for that update. And then I think you have the next one. Yeah, fixing the bug with the secondary failing to upload or download LFS files.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I'm working on it. The fix is actually trivial, but spec and testing are not. So I'm working on it.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for taking that one on. And I think that does it for the in-dev column. Yeah, quite a bit. So I think we're getting close to time, but if everyone has a few minutes, I would like to just quickly go over the ready for development column. It's, I think we're kind of in the same place that we were last week. We've moved quite a bit over, so we can fill it up. I brought a couple items into open that I'll bring over, specifically just these items to finish up the additional data types, getting them hooked up in the front end. And I think we may need to kind of look at these issues and see if we need to split them out more, because if I'm understanding correctly, if we just look at, say, this Terraform state one as an example, we're talking about adding the progress bar in the details view, but my understanding is maybe the details view might just kind of be there now with the work that that Mike and Zach have done to generalize things. But yeah, let me. Is that correct, or is there some more that would need to be done there?
The registry data needs to be added to GraphQL, and that is documented. So it's like, I think we weighted the issue to do that like a 2 or something. Is this the issue? Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's probably accurate if all goes well. So if there's no surprises, you know.
Yeah, and then I think with the progress bar, it's we need to add the metrics to the endpoint, and also do some work on the front end to hook those up. Is that right?
Yeah, the front end will need some work. So also, and to be honest, the metrics documentation, like adding the metrics, we didn't really show you exactly what you need to do. So you're gonna have to like look at examples from like progress or from package files or something.
So yeah, so there might be a good opportunity for some to add some documentation in there as well.
Probably.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll add some of those notes. But I think those are, so these are the next things. So I'll move these over into ready for development. Other than that, I think
there are actually a couple more Terraform state issues that could also go in there that I haven't finished writing everything out on, just like things that didn't get covered in the first iteration of Terraform state.
okay.
They're very small things, like 1 or 2. So
Sounds good.
I just saw that we didn't implement selective sync yet. Is that one of the things that we're going to be adding as follow-up? So
is that okay, or do I need to do it right away?
I don't know. I that was kind of going to be my question. My initial feeling would have been we need to include it because some customers use selective sync to ensure that certain data doesn't get replicated to the secondary as a, I don't know, like security concern or something like that. I don't know. So we might need to, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I guess I'll figure that out.
So it sounds like we'll want to consider that as part of the like the current like initial implementation MRs that are in review or close to right now.
We could give them the option of turning off the feature flag. No, that's not adequate, probably. All right. I will figure that out next then.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I think, you know, if that's if that's something we definitely want to see before we roll it out, I don't think we should like skip that just to try to make the release a little faster. Like I think I'd rather, you know, miss the release but make sure we're releasing something that's going to work the way we want it to for customers. But yeah, definitely open to everyone's thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that it should include the selective sync because, like Mike said, we have some customers that have some Lego concerns that they can't replicate data to other secondaries or to other countries. So that makes sense to include it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll make sure we note that for all the other data type issues as well. And I think if it's like I said, it would be of course great to make the release, but if it would be better to make sure we release with all of these concerns addressed, I think. So thanks for raising that. Yeah, so I also added, I think this is maybe the first one that we can work on for snippet replication, but please weigh in on the planning issue or just anywhere if you think it should be something else. I'd like to start adding 1 or 2 of the snippet replication epic items to the ready for development column. I think this final confirmation for the promotion script came out of the pre-flight checks work and is kind of a small follow-up. We have a couple of small bug investigation items, but yeah, that is the current state of ready for development. I did move this runbook style documentation to the top. We were hoping to get to that in 13.2, but I think we kind of acknowledged that it might, there's 2 of these types of documentation issues that are in the 13.3 planning issue. So I would like for that to be a high priority. So I think that's kind of been getting overlooked with, as it's kind of a very different, I guess, type of thing from what we've been working on. So I did want to just put that to the top to get some attention on it. But other than that, the only other things that I think we'll want to be paying attention to, trying to start making progress on are these in 13.3, Postgres 12 will be available in the 13.2 release. So we'll want to verify a Geo install with that. So it's blocked right now, but once 13.2 is actually released, we can start working on that. And then just some more of these testing issues, like testing Gitly cluster and then starting to look into seeing if we can configure a Patroni standby cluster on the secondary. I think will be other big priorities for 13.3. Any questions about those, about the ready for development column or sort of what's about to go in there? Awesome. And and I did try to update the 13.3 planning issue for that and ping the Geo team. So yeah, just please, take a look at it. Let us know if there's anything that we should remove because maybe it doesn't seem feasible for the release, or maybe if there's anything we should add that we're overlooking. And I think the plan will be to try to record a kickoff video in the next day or 2. I guess I have to double check with Josh and see if the plan was for me to do that or if he had someone else in mind. But I think all in all, the plan is looking pretty solid. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. Thanks everyone. Just a couple, actually let me